What if I told you that there is a team that is absolutely flying underneath the radar and has a legitimate shot at winning this year's Super Bowl? Let me take you to the NFC conference. They're currently the 6th seed, but they're 8-3. They're in the toughest division in football by far, and that is none other than the Green Bay Packers. They are 8-3 currently, and as wild as that sounds, they are the 6th seed in the NFC because the Detroit Lions are number 1 and they're at 10-1, and then the Minnesota Vikings are 9-2 and they're the 5th seed. But this Green Bay team, I think, is very underrated, and nobody's really giving them any credit right now. Now, they just had a big-time statement win against the hospital 49ers, but I think this is an opportunity to show people that you're not taking them lightly. You're not going to drop this game against a good 49ers team that still has talent, and they went out there and dominated them. And I think this Packers team has had a very up and down season, but with everything considered, they're 8-3 and still could end up winning this division. And you look at the trajectory that they've had, because Jordan Love went down for the first few weeks after that Philadelphia game. Malik Willis came in and was able to stabilize this season. Then Jordan Love came back about midway through the year, and he's had his fair share of struggles. He's been turning the ball over a lot this year, specifically in the red zone, which is obviously a big no-no. But I think this team right now, if they can clean up those turnovers, they have the pieces in line that is really going to help them make a Super Bowl push, in my opinion. Let me take you back a few weeks into last year when Green Bay was seemingly in a state of chaos. They were 3-6. There were some question marks about Matt LaFleur, question marks about Jordan Love, what was going to happen with this Packers team, and they would make this historic run where they would win 6 out of their final 8 games. They'd sneak into the playoffs, into that 7 seed. They'd ultimately play the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry's World, and they would boat race this team in a big-time way, 48-32, and I think that was really when people realized that this Packers team had a bright future, but I don't think people realized to what degree until that San Francisco game ended, where they ultimately should have won this game. They lost by 3 points. They had that collapse in the fourth quarter and really showed their youth, but I really think Jordan Love showed this league what he has to offer in that postseason. That's ultimately why he got that big-time contract, and that's why I'm so excited about this team coming into this year, because I don't think we were able to see Jordan Love really pick up from where he left off last year when this Packers team really hit its peak, and I think if they can do that again this year, they are absolutely one of the best teams in the NFL. Now let's start on offense with this team. Of course, I just referenced the turnovers to Jordan Love and mentioned what he's doing and what he's capable of, and I think he can be a top 10 quarterback and even top 5 quarterback when he reaches his peak, but I think we got to start with none other than Josh Jacobs. He has been absolutely phenomenal for this team. He's been one of the best running backs in the NFL, such an underrated free agent pickup, and Josh Jacobs has been setting the tone for this team. He's almost at 1,000 yards already, 3rd most rushing yards in the league. He has 7 touchdowns. He has been an animal for this team, and this is really what's laying the foundation for this team to get to their play action, to get Jordan Love on the move, and that's what makes this team so dangerous when they're able to set the tone with this run game, get Jordan Love in the play action game, and that's when this Packers offense can reach its peak. But Josh Jacobs, I don't think, is getting enough credit from people in the media for what a tremendous job he's done to this Packers team. I think this is one of the biggest free agency pickups in all of the league this offseason, but he's done a tremendous job. And of course, Jayden Reed has taken a big time step this year as well. You have this young trio of receivers with Jayden Reed, Romeo Doubs, and Christian Watson. And we saw Romeo Doubs kind of have some trouble with this team where he was upset about the number of targets that he was getting, but he seems to be happier. He's getting the ball a little bit more. And I think Christian Watson has done a good job of taking another leap as well. And you look at Tucker Kraft. He's been a stud of a tight end, one of the best tight ends in the entire league this year, tied for the 5th most touchdowns. He's really kind of emerged as this tight end one for this team because they run a lot of sets with multiple tight ends. But I really think right now, with how well this offensive line's playing, with how well this run game is playing, Jordan Love is going to be what guides this team. This team is going to go as far as Jordan Love takes them. He's going to have to cut down on the red zone turnovers, obviously, but we know what Jordan Love can do. We know what he's capable of doing. He's not going to shy down from the big moments. This team is going to have more experience underneath their belt after that collapse in the fourth quarter last year against the Niners. This is a young, inexperienced Packers team, but they're earning their stripes. They're earning their stripes every single week. We saw them do it last year. They're doing it again this year. With everything considered, for this team to be 8-3 in the most brutal division in football, the Bears aren't even a joke. In the most brutal division in football by far, for them to be 8-3 with Jordan Love having missed times, with some problems kind of going on in that receiver room with Romeo Doubs, and with everything considered, this team is 8-3. I think they're in a tremendous spot, and I really don't think enough people are talking about them because they're the number 6 seed right now. And I think this defense has also done a really good job. We know how great Jair Alexander is, but of course, Xavier McKinney coming over from the Giants, he's been one of the best defensive players in football this year, leads the National Football League in interceptions. And I think that's what's so great about this Packers team is they have a lot of guys that are just not really getting enough credit and not enough respect for what they've been doing. We saw them really shut down that line of scrimmage against the San Francisco 49ers, and I think this Packers team right now, they have everything to gain and seemingly really nothing to lose because they're still so young. Nobody's talking about them. Everybody's talking about the Lions of the world. Everybody's talking about the Eagles of the world, the Vikings of the world. But let's not forget this Packers team is in the top 10 in offensive points per game and defensive points per game. They have an elite young quarterback. They have an offensive line and running game that can set the tone no matter who they're playing. And I really am worried that people are going to make the exact same mistake as they did last season on this Green Bay Packers team. Nobody talked about them. Nobody gave them the credit that they had deserved when they got hot in the second half of the year. They were this 9-8 team that was the number 7 seed in the NFC, and they got hot and shocked a lot of people. I'm urging you to not do the same exact thing that everybody did with this Green Bay Packers team last year, as I believe they are the most underrated team in the entire NFL. I'm Caden Kubler, and thanks for watching.